Ready to go? All right. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Sheriff, would you please lead us tonight?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gentlemen, any additions or deletions to the agenda this evening?
No, sir.
Let me put my glasses on. No, sir.
Is there a motion to approve minutes from the last public business meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay, moving on to our action agenda tonight. It's an enterprise zone certification. Mr. Greg Hildreth, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. Hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. So it's that time of year again here. We're looking to get a motion to certify our enterprise zone businesses. Mr. Beeman and myself met with the advisory committee last week, and they unanimously approved the list of businesses that you see on the resolution there. Don't really have much to update you on in the zones. I can rattle through the list of businesses, but I think you can probably read them for yourself. I'll just summarize and say the Frostburg zone, which of course is administered by the city of Frostburg, approved 22 businesses for their zone. The Gateway zone, which is the one that intersects with a fair amount of Cumberland, we approved 17 businesses in that zone. There's only one new business that was added this year, which was AMM Corp. They actually had been a member of this, or they participated in this program back when they first got started out there on Day Road. They're about to do some new construction and things out there, so they're getting back in. So we hope we can get a good expansion project out there. And then the Route 220 zone, of course, we have one business there, which is American Woodmark. Happy to take any questions on the program or the businesses that are listed, if you have any.
No, Greg, thank you for your efforts
Sure.
on this. And this is an
No
important program. Gentlemen, is there any further discussion?
No, sir.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
Okay, moving to our consent agenda tonight, Administrator Bennett.
Good evening, Commissioners. 5 items tonight on the consent agenda. Item number 2 is an MOU for a pilot project for broadband expansion with the Department of Housing and Community Development. Item 3 is the 2021 salvage yard license issuances. Item 4 is the Maryland Area Health Education Center West Rural Opioid Grant in the amount of $5,000. Item 5 is the Allegany County Sheriff's Office vehicle trade to arrange for acquiring some new vehicles. Item 6 is Maryland Historical Trust to authorize $9,986 for Rummel, Klepper, and Kale for work at Allegany High School.
Great, gentlemen, any discussion?
No, sir.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Okay, before we get into our other piece this evening, Sheriff Robertson's joined us tonight. He's going to provide an update on his new program that's going around to area businesses. Sheriff?
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, actually at the request of the Commissioners, as well as the Allegany County Health Department, the Sheriff's Department started a program yesterday where we're going to attempt to locate or go to each of the businesses, including restaurants within Allegany County, and basically in a purpose of educating those businesses in regards to the COVID pandemic that we're dealing with today. As everybody is aware, numbers are rising or have risen in Allegany County. We want to do something to try to help that. One of the ways is to try to educate, because there's been so many different recommendations, things that's been placed out by Governor Hogan, and sometimes it's very confusing to some of the businesses as to what they're allowed and what they're not allowed. So with that being said, the Health Department has provided me with some brochures, some information, and deputies will be out just visiting these businesses, just in an effort of educating them on what they can and can't do, and hopefully that will help us with some of our numbers on lowering now. So, I mean, I appreciate the opportunity to do that. It's a small way. I don't have the manpower. We get so many complaints, so many things about, being out here enforcing certain things. Honestly, law enforcement does not have enough. I have a hard enough time just dealing with our daily calls of service, trying to deal with them. I have my own issues with some people affected by this pandemic. So, we're working with down a couple people ourselves, so it's very hard. This is the best way I could see possible of trying to at least educate our businesses and the public as to what they can and can't do. And we'll be there to help them if they have people non-compliant, of course. That's their prerogative. All they need to do is call us at that point. Any questions from the commissioners or anybody?
No. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you very much, Sheriff.
Thank you.
And Commissioners, if I could, just to thank the sheriff again, when we called to talk about this, he even with all their staffing challenges right now, he jumped at it.
Great.
And the deputies jumped at it, so that's a big help.
Could you keep us informed of how that's working out as well, Sheriff, please? Maybe an update, that'd be great.
So I don't have any of those figures. I think, actually, I did speak to one deputy that worked it the other day, and actually, the reception from the businesses was excellent. They were
Good.
very happy to see us just stop by and talk to them. So I think it's a positive thing.
Great.
Great, thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Okay, two announcements this evening out of our CARES Act funding. We'll be doing a $10,000 allocation for every volunteer fire department and EMS department in Allegany County. That'll come out of the CARES money, and that's a much-needed shot in the arm for them, as they will had to have a lot of their fundraisers and events canceled. So that's very important. The other thing, we've been working through the state of Maryland's restaurant grant for restaurants and bars. I will say that once we process everything, there's a few more that we were waiting for business licenses or getting taxes paid up. We will use that full $651,000 allocation. We're going to fund all of that. And gentlemen, thank you, because we're going to match that with our own county funds. So if you receive money through the restaurant grant and already received it or in the process of receiving it, that amount will be doubled here in the next coming weeks. So that's a big boost for restaurants and businesses that are really struggling. We do have one piece of correspondence tonight. This is a letter that we sent to Governor Hogan earlier today, and it reads as follows. Dear Governor Hogan, as your administration indicated earlier this week, decisions will be made imminently regarding the prioritization and distribution of the COVID-19 vaccine in the state of Maryland. On behalf of the residents of Allegany County, I respectfully request that all frontline healthcare workers and correctional officers in Allegany County be included in the first round of vaccines distributed by the state of Maryland. As you're aware, after mostly being spared from infections during the spring COVID-19 surge, we have not been so fortunate these last few weeks. As we begin the month of December, Allegany County remains the jurisdiction with the highest positivity percentage and case rate per 100,000 in the state. And actually today, Garrett County went ahead of us in the positivity percentage rate. Our testing capacity has dramatically improved with the addition of the free state testing facility located at the Allegany County Fairgrounds. With over 48% of our residents tested, we have tested the highest percentage of people of all jurisdictions in Maryland. Still, our healthcare system is being strained by the surge of hospitalizations, and Maryland correctional facilities in our county are being pressured to find staff to maintain operations. These situations can be resolved by giving priority to a region currently at the peak of this pandemic. Thank you for your time and attention to this request and your leadership during this trying time for the state of Maryland and the nation. Okay. Gentlemen, with that, Administrator Bennett.
Nothing further.
Attorney Beeman.
Thank you, Commissioners. On the evening of Thursday, November 19th, 2020 at 3:00 p.m., the Commissioners held a closed session of the Board of County Commissioners. Commissioner Brody made the motion to close the meeting. That was seconded by Commissioner Shade and voted unanimously to go into a closed session. The meeting time and place and the purpose of the meeting were provided in a public notice distributed on November 17th, 2020. The notice was provided in the same manner and also to the same entities that received the Commissioner's regular business meeting notices. The meeting was closed in accordance with the general provisions article of the Annotated Code of Maryland for the purposes of consulting with staff, consultants, and other individuals about pending potential litigation, and for consultation with counsel to obtain legal advice concerning the matters referenced in number 1 above. Persons present during all part of the entire closed session were Commission President Jacob Shade, Commissioner Creed Brody, Commissioner David Caparelli, County Administrator Jason Bennett, myself as County Attorney, James Piles, Director of Allegany County Emergency Services, Bruce Poole, Esquire, and Kathy Poole of the Poole Law Group, as well as Cindy Young, our Recording Secretary. During the meeting, we dealt with three issues. First, Mr. Poole provided updates to the commissioners regarding the opioid litigation and provided some guidance as to where he envisioned potential resolution of the opioid litigation going. Ultimately, the commissioners took action in providing him authorization to reach out to other districts for the purposes of settlement discussions. Second issue that we dealt with was a personnel issue. I provided legal advice, and ultimately the commissioners provided authority to act on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners with regard to that personnel issue. And the third matter that was discussed was providing legal advice in the context of a collective bargaining grievance. Ultimately, you commissioners provided authority for a potential resolution of that matter. No further business was conducted during the closed session. It's upon motion made by Commissioner Brody and seconded by Commissioner Caparelli to adjourn. Motion carried unanimously, and the meeting was adjourned at 4:20 p.m. And gentlemen, that's just a statement that's necessary pursuant to the Maryland Open Meetings Act.
Great. Thank you, Attorney Beam. Do you want to read the correspondence we have this evening?
I can, thank you.
Please.
Commissioners, you've received three public comments this evening. The first is from Stephanie Metz. She writes, with the governor's order to stop utility disconnects ending last November 14th, 2020, local utilities have begun cutoffs. The Vale Sanitary Commission is currently disconnecting water due to non-payment, with Allegany County current COVID numbers being one of the highest in the nation. Now we lack access of water to even wash their hands for some Allegany County residents. What plans do the commissioners have regarding utility shutoff and to assist our residents in being able to stop the spread in a situation where they have had their water turned off? That was from Stephanie Metz.
Well, Commissioner, do you have anything?
No, sir.
I'd just say that there are CARES funding that can be used for utility things. I'd urge people to contact HRDC. I believe they're administering it. But as we all know, LaVale Sanitary Commission is under no jurisdiction of Allegany County government. So I note that, please.
The second correspondence that was received as a form of public comment was from Chris Hamilton. He states, good afternoon. I'm writing to you today regarding the spike in COVID cases in Allegany County. As a 50-year resident of Allegany County and registered voter, I'm asking this be addressed at tonight's meeting. As I'm sure you're aware, our hospital, UPMC, is at maximum capacity. This is extremely alarming. Allegany County deaths have now surpassed Washington County. The governor has stated it is up to our local officials to do something about our numbers, and I'm asking you to please step in and do something to help us. I know it's never easy to make these difficult decisions, but I have to say the local response to this spike has been very disappointing, to say the least. Just asking people to wear a mask, social distance, and wash hands is not enough. We need more than that. Our medical staff and resources are stretched to the max and in dire straits, and it is only going to get worse. Waiting for a vaccine or letting the virus run its course is not acceptable. Please take action sooner rather than later. We are in a crisis and need help, and I'm asking you to do everything in your power to step in and help us get through this. Thank you for your attention and your time, Chris Hamilton. And the final comment received this evening is from Tammy Fraley. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Tammy Fraley. I reside at 555 Braddock Avenue, LaVale, Maryland, 21502. As you know, I was recently reelected for another 4-year term to the Allegany County Board of Education. I'm writing today, though, as a citizen of Allegany County for the past 15 years. I sent a letter for your last meeting on November 19th, 2020, and understand that it was read during public comment, although there were technical difficulties that did not allow for live streaming/video. I'm writing again to plead for your leadership in Allegany County citizens through the current spike in COVID cases. This is more than just a health crisis. It is impacting day-to-day living for all. There are citizens that can no longer work due to closings. There are businesses that are having to board up. There are impacts to the mental health and well-being of all citizens. And of course, there are impacts for all ages of citizens, from babies, toddlers, children, teenagers, young adults, and adults. The governor of the state of Maryland took action in March, April, and May of 2020 that were not popular, but helped to lessen the spread of this very deadly disease. Now it appears that the push is to local government entities to protect the citizens of Maryland in Allegany County. Please take up the fight with all of us and help us. It is never popular to make directives or decisions that limit the freedom of a citizen of the county, but sitting back and letting this disease run its course is no longer acceptable. I'm willing to be part of the solution, and I know there are several others in the area that want to have action. The old saying is true: actions speak louder than words. Please take some form of action to help us all. At the very least, having open discussions, virtually of course, to educate the community should be available. Thank you in advance for your quick response. Tammy Fraley. That concludes the public comments.
Commissioners, if I might, to that last comment. Ms. Fraley challenged us. I'd like to challenge her. She's president of the Board of Ed. I have 4 children in the school system. They've been virtually learning for months now. I'd like to make sure she knows that's not working. It's not sufficient. It's time they do more. We don't even know if they're virtually learning next week yet. We won't get that announcement from them until tomorrow. So while she's challenging you, I'm going to challenge her. The Board of Ed needs to step up and work a little bit harder at virtual learning, I think, because there's definitely deficiencies and our kids are all suffering. So just my 2 cents.
I would say, as far as announcements, information, et cetera, first off, at our facility, we're in constant contact with the hospital. We're in constant contact with the health department. I think CBC, Brian, maybe you could correct me, your station has something on every half hour with updates, with information and things along. So I don't know where that's coming from either, frankly. And if it's saying everything short of shutting everything down, you want to talk about boarding up businesses, well, that's what you're talking about.
Sir, I'm not, since we're going to have this discussion, I sat here and I wasn't going to say anything. What authority do we have to shut down what? What we can shut down is the businesses we're trying to help here tonight read to keep going. What we can't touch is anything deemed essential, anything that sells food. So, and it's been no big secret that I work for LaVale Sanitary Commission because I'm getting waylaid on Facebook for reasons that I don't control, things I don't control. But I'll give you one example. In the middle of summer, we had an issue in front of Lowe's up in LaVale. I had to call the sheriff immediately and ask him to send deputies up immediately now, because we was interrupting the flow, a little bit of traffic into Lowe's, and we had people stop and threaten us, threaten my guys with this and that, because now this was under the end of the stay-at-home order because they couldn't get into Lowe's. Any given day, you can go up there and watch people drive around waiting for a parking spot. So we can't touch anything that's deemed essential, which is a long list of businesses in Allegany County in which we want business to provide and survive anyhow. But for some reason, they think that we got this one and go up and say, yep, if we close all of this down, this is going to fix this. We asked for the tracking numbers, Commissioner. I personally heard you ask for that, to where this is coming from. It's all over the board. No one can put their finger on nothing. But yet, for some reason, these people are under the illusion that this is only happening in Allegany County, and it's only happening because of the county commissioners, which I think is absolutely ludicrous. None of us want any of this to happen. None of us want this to spread. This has been most detrimental to our community. But to pick off, if we went into full force and said we're going to close up everything we can close up, we close up half a dozen businesses, it's failing anyhow.
Still struggling from the last shutdown.
Yeah, these restaurants were closed, everyone's going back because they're having staffing issues, this and that, they're going to takeout. Anyhow, so we're going to deny them that? I'm not sure we can deny them that, because then they become an essential business. So I don't know, you can't, you're not going to close up the markets. You're not going to close up the big box stores. I mean, we know this. But to go on the constant attack of us, that is just, that really just galls me. And I've had a bad week anyhow. Because everywhere you turn, everyone's just blaming us for everything under the sun. And I've said this, and I'll say it again. Anything good that happens in this community, boy, they'll make sure that commissioners get credit for absolutely nothing. We've tested more than any jurisdiction in the state of Maryland. By right, we would have the highest numbers. We have tested more than any jurisdiction in the state of Maryland. But boy, if something bad happens, you ain't going to hear them nothing about good job, Commissioner Shade, for setting this up. You went to bat for us in August. We was ignored. You went to bat and kept going to bat till we got a facility up here to test. You'll hear nothing good about that, but boy, you hear something bad, the three commissioners ain't doing nothing. Lack of leadership, lack of action, lack of this. It's lack of everything. It's the only place in the country it's happening. It's right here.
I'd also add, regarding the last letter, the previous note before that was addressing staffing at the state prison and how that correlates with the county. You know, that was an issue prior to COVID. So I mean, you know, to say that that's a county issue, these are state employees. It's run by the state, and obviously they had issues with this before. Does it need to be addressed? Of course. If there's anything we could do to help, of course we would. However, but to put that in the county's lap either, you know, I disagree.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up with one more statement, then I'm going to shut up because it's getting over on the personal side of me. I haven't missed a day's work since it started, not a day. I have not been compensated one extra penny more than I've ever got for any other days of work. And I am just tickled to death that I have a job and live in a community that I can help serve. But boy, some of these people really need to wake up and take a look around at what's going on. If someone does not feel safe out in the community, don't go out. Please, this is the United States. We still have the freedom in this country to decide if we want to go out or we don't want to go out. I am not going to sit here and try to take that away from anybody. Sir, enough said from me.
Administrator Bennett, anything to add?
Just one last thing to my other comments. None of that was meant against the teachers. There's a lot of really good teachers out there who have been trying their best with the model that's been put in front of them, and they're going the extra mile. But the model they have and are using is not working.
Thank you. Attorney Beeman?
Nothing further. But thank you.
Commissioner Caparelli?
Nothing to add.
Commissioner
Sir,
Brody?
nothing.
Okay. Gentlemen, our next public business meeting will be Thursday, December 17th at 5 p.m. This is our second virtual meeting. We expect that one to be virtual as well. Thank you.
Thank you.